Hello guys, and welcome to the Bitcoin Report. Now this morning I'm just going to talk about something that I've been thinking about in my mind for the last little while, and it doesn't really have too much to do with the Bitcoin price. Well, the Bitcoin price is 3701.90, but what I want to talk about is very important. Bitcoin, which way it actually goes during the crisis. The crisis is coming on us pretty quick. We've got basically getting down to just the nitty-gritty of everything. The Federal Reserve, after the crisis of 2008, raised markets back up again by injecting liquidity into the system. Free and easy money. It was called quantitative easing. That's what it was called. That's what pumped up the markets. Now, it's extremely simple. They've stopped. They slowly did what was called a taper, which means stopping quantitative easing, and they've reversed monetary policy, and now the money that they put in, they're drawing it back out again. So it's pretty much a no-brainer that the system is going to roll over. It's not rolling over real quick at the start now yet, but it's going to roll over faster and faster as long as the Federal Reserve continues with this monetary policy that they have now. They're not going to continue that far into it. They're going to get a certain ways into the future, and they're going to realize that they're taking the wrong course because the system's going to crash. It's going to go back to what happened in 2008, except this time worse, magnitudes worse, and they're going to have to relent on this, what they're doing, this policy. They're going to have to change policies. Now, it's all about the timing, guys, with cryptocurrencies. If Bitcoin gets into some sort of a low ebb in price, it's just knockdown, and it gets down to where it's crawling on the mat. Well, if you're down on the floor, there's no place lower to go. You have to go up. And when cryptocurrencies are rising, you have market sentiment that's very positive, news that's very positive, and you have excitement in the air when cryptocurrencies are rising in price. When cryptocurrencies are falling in price, you have the exact opposite of that. You have negative sentiment, negative articles. People are very negative in the crypto space. Well, right now we're in this negative mood. That's what we're in, a malaise. But take a serious look at cryptocurrencies right now. The fact that they've dropped off more than 3/4 in the price. They were $20,000, and right now we're looking at $3,700 this morning. That's like it figured over 80%, isn't it? In price. So they fell. They fell down. Now they're not completely on the floor. They're still falling. And I mean, the cryptocurrencies could fall 90%, 95% in price from their highs. But once they're down, once they're completely down on the floor, then there's no place else to go except start to creep back up again. In other words, they have to make a bottom before they're going to start to slowly, the price is going to start to creep up then, instead of down. Once that happens, then the sentiment changes from this negative sentiment we're in to a more positive sentiment, and people start to get excited again. Even if the price is only 1/10 for a Bitcoin that it was when it was $20,000. In other words, what I'm saying is $2,000 instead of $20,000. If it's going up, if the price is going up instead of down, so you can have a $20,000 Bitcoin, and you can have people that are bad sentiment if the price is falling sharply. Whereas you can have a $2,000 Bitcoin, and if the price is creeping upwards because it's bottomed out, then the sentiment's totally different. People are excited about it again because the price is going up. That's going to lead to the price going up more. This is how markets work. Now, there's another thing involved. Believe me, People remember when Bitcoin was $20,000, and they know that this asset has the capability to be $20,000 again. They do not forget that. They don't forget it. They know. They know they're holding an asset class that could be worth as much as $20,000 or more when they buy a Bitcoin. They don't forget that. Now, let's look at the dynamics of the system when the system starts to break apart, which is going to be very soon in the future because what the Fed's doing and their monetary policy. What's the dynamic of Bitcoin going to be at that time? Could Bitcoin actually reach a bottom before the system breaks apart, and then when the system starts to break apart, be actually on an upswing in sentiment and be moving upwards? This is what I'm looking at right now. And this is something I couldn't foresee a few months back. But right now it's starting to look like, hey, you know, the timing looks like Bitcoin's going to come down and make a bottom, or be damn near close to it, just before the system starts to fall apart, and the Fed has to go back to accommodative monetary policy at a certain point. If all of this were to happen just right, you know, this would be explosive for the price of cryptocurrencies and the sentiment of cryptocurrencies. At the same time, if the Fed goes back to accommodative monetary policy, there's going to be a huge amount of negative sentiment surrounding the dollar, and we're also going to see the dollar start to lose ground. So right now, what we're looking at is, we're looking at a negative sentiment toward cryptocurrencies and very positive sentiment toward the dollar right now. And we've got a dollar that's moving upwards right now. Oil prices are sharply declining, and this is forcing the dollar up. So we got an upward swinging dollar, positive sentiment to the dollar, negative sentiment. This could all change. And the reason for the positive sentiment on the dollar is the Fed is pulling dollars out of the system. They're making them scarcer. By pulling these dollars out of the system, they're making them scarcer. Not only that, you've got your emerging markets, which are trying to pay back huge loans in dollars. And they're quite literally, dollars are being vacuumed out of the system at a phenomenal rate right now, because there's a lot of dollar hoarding right now going on. And so what we're seeing is we're seeing the dollar, we're seeing very positive strength in the dollar, but it's not as much as, when I look at how much is going on that should be strengthening the dollar, I say to myself, hey, you know what? There's not as much strength right now as there should be. The dollar should be up around 102 right now, or 103, rather than back at 97. But there is still a lot of strength in the dollar. So listen, I got to keep my eye on this situation, because it could, when the dollar starts to roll over and we have this crisis, Bitcoin could be past its lowest ebb and back on an upswing again. In other words, back into a bull market again. Simply because of the timing of it all. And that's what I'm watching out for. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed to my other channel, I have another channel called Financial Turmoil Explained. All you have to do is just write in FINANCE TURMOIL, and you won't even get past the TURM, and bang, it'll bring me up on there if you do use the YouTube search engine. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up on my videos, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.